All right, so just waiting to see if anyone shows up to the live chat. Yesterday I did a video on the dangers of the jinn. At that point is where I mentioned about today as being a live chat day, especially for the people that weren't able to attend last week. I'm so able to actually work. I never saw myself as a live streaming content creator, but here I am. So we'll see. So I'm not sure where you all are. It was raining here earlier, but now the sun's out. It's kind of a pretty day. In case you all are wondering where I broadcast from, I live in Louisiana. And the kind of the deep south, southern part of Louisiana. Yep, y'all can bring your coffee, your tea, your wine, whatever you are drinking today. This is something I'm trying. It's Steel Reserve pineapple. I'm not much of a I don't drink too many sodas, but I'm trying these hard drinks to see what they're like. I think I got this at I got this at Rouse's. Okay, so just I guess I'll get started. Say a few things. The first thing is I know that you all are aware that I'm working on my second book. The working title right now is Spirit Companions, Angels, Guides, and Invisible Friends. I'm still kind of working on that. I'm not sure if I like it. It's going to be light on the angels. Going to have some things on a little bit, tiny bit on demons, a little bit on muses, ancestor spirits. It's going to be kind of like a smattering of a lot of different things. But I'm looking forward to having it finished. I've already had my editor hurt my feelings and write and red pen all over it to correct my mistakes. So still working on it. We'll see. Hopefully it won't be too long. Writing a book is kind of for me at least, kind of an extended it's an extended time period for me to be able to do that. I kind of write kind of slow and just like anybody else, have responsibilities, life, that sort of thing, and kind of takes a little bit of time that I like to write with. Okay, so it looks like we have one person watching. That's cool. So we'll see. We'll see the book. Second thing is that I am always looking and researching different modes of divination, magic, paranormal. And I came across, let me say that right, vulvomancy. It's actually using a woman's private parts for divination. I'm not kidding you. So here I was using tarot and I was using runes, and this is something I wasn't even aware of. But I found a book on Amazon, and I will actually put the link in the description of this video once YouTube posts it, in case you want to check it out. I wasn't aware that this was a thing, but I guess if you were like an OBGYN and, you know, you could actually add a little bit more to your session, fortune telling. So I believe it's from the Lucky Mojo company, and they typically have decent books. I've got a book on making mojos, a book on, I think, oils, and some other different types of things. So check it out. Okay, so as I was mentioning, that I'm like shooting from Louisiana, these videos. So I live in the Deep South. In case you all are interested in ever visiting the Deep South, there are certain things in here that if you are an occultist or if you like horror, there's definitely things for you here. For one, you know, we have a lot of haunted plantation homes, many of which will allows tours. There's one in particular that I really like. It's the Myrtles in St. Francisville. And it's been, the Myrtles plantation has had slaves, you know, in the 1800s. And it's been the subject of a lot of tragedy, a lot of killings, a lot of unfortunate epidemics of disease and that sort of thing. So it is a very haunted place. It's been investigated more than any other house that I know. And for a while, a long period of time, it was considered the most haunted place in America. Not sure the status nowadays, but it definitely was. There have been numerous books come out about it. The second thing, if you like horror, we have in Baton Rouge in the 13th Gate, which is one of the scariest haunted houses in the country. For several years, that was actually voted to the #1 haunted house in the country. So many people kind of come from around the, you know, from around the world to kind of come see it. It's something I go to every year because I just love it. Okay, we got a couple people saying hi. Oh, hey there, Jimbo. Hey there, Gerald. Good to have you tuning in. So 13th Gate, Plantation Homes. Then not far from here, about 2 hours, there is New Orleans, which is the center for a lot of voodoo. It's also New Orleans, if I remember my history correct. If you are a gambler, it's it's where the French gambling of roulette first took hold. So I believe it went to New Orleans and then it kind of spread from France to New Orleans. Also with the voodoo, I believe New Orleans was the first place that it touched down with the slaves and then kind of spread to different parts of the country. So then, of course, there is Mardi Gras. In case you've never been to Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. It's one of the biggest parties of the world. I'm not sure how Carnival in Brazil stacks up to it, but I believe Carnival's probably bigger because I think it's a celebration across that entire country rather than just in one city. I don't know, because Mardi Gras is not only in New Orleans, but it is a lot of the towns in Louisiana having parades and things like that. An interesting thing about Mardi Gras is it's the one day of the year where a few laws are completely suspended. The laws regarding public nudity is suspended in New Orleans. Laws regarding public intoxication and open containers and all of that. Everyone looks the other way, including the police. In Detroit here. Cool. So if you ever come down to Louisiana, check out Mardi Gras. It's usually in February or March. It's a lot of fun. By the way, I know that in the course of doing all of these videos, I don't know if y'all have seen the ones where there's at least 3 where my dog Knight video bombs. It's usually what he does. He comes to that window right over there and looks at me, trying to see what I'm doing, or supervising me. One of the two, I don't know. Well, I guess while we're here, let me go and see if I can get him. I'm gonna send a text. Maybe I can get him out here and meet y'all. So Knight, if he comes out, is an American Eskimo dog. What's funny is that sometimes I'm doing videos, people comment, "Hey, I see a spirit in your window," you know, and unless the spirit is about 1 feet high and white, it's not a spirit. That's probably him. It's hard to tell because the glass is real dirty. I need to clean it. But he's an American Eskimo dog, or otherwise known as the German Spitz. He got him from Kentwood, Louisiana, and Kentwood is where Britney Spears is from. I don't think he has any connection to Britney Spears. Midnight, I got you. All righty, here he comes. So this is the spirit that some people claim are in the window. He has never been on YouTube before. And I don't know if he's very impressed. He's a very good guard dog. He doesn't like, he's such a cliche, he doesn't like the mailman. He will bark at him, and he doesn't really care what type of postal service it comes. It doesn't matter what it's, FedEx, UPS, United States Postal Service. He has something to say to everyone. So he's a very good guard dog. He just ate and ran around the yard, so I think he wants to get back inside. So I'm going to let him back in. See, he wants to go. Yeah, he's a cute dog. He's a cute dog. He is about 13 years old, so he's kind of an older dog, but you can't tell that because he can run and he can jump. He's not supposed to do all that because I think I mentioned this in one of the videos, is that he has had neck and back condition. And so what he wants to do is he wants to jump on the couch and then jump down on the floor. And over a period of time, that has, I guess, gotten the better of him. So he's supposed to not do that, but he kind of does what he wants. And that's what happens. So, but he definitely is someone special. Now, I don't know if you know a lot about dogs. Usually the smaller dogs live older than the bigger dogs. Bigger dogs tend to live, you know, maybe 10, 11. Sometimes I heard of a golden retriever living to about 15, which is insanely old. But smaller dogs usually can hit, you know, 15, sometimes 16 pretty easily. But in any case, I don't want to babble on about that. But it is interesting. I'm a big dog person. I don't have any cats, but I definitely like dogs. Knight is, since that German Spitz, American Eskimo, is a Nordic breed, which means that it comes from, you know, the cold. And one of the things that separates the Nordic breeds, so we're talking not only him, but we're talking about like Siberian Huskies, Alaskan Malamutes, Samoyeds, I want to say, is that their skin does not produce the oil to make that dog smell that you smell, like whenever you're touching like a lab or something like that. It doesn't produce the oil. That's why they don't have the scent of a normal dog. However, the downside of this is these Nordic breeds, they have a lot of fur, so they're shedding all over your house. So it's a constant thing trying to sweep up hair, trying to vacuum up hair. I had a Siberian Husky, and you can sweep up and do that stuff all day, but then there'll be like little tumbleweed of tufts of hair, when the ceiling fan comes on. Yeah, he looks young. Yeah. And according to him, he is young and 10 feet tall. He's not afraid of anything. I remember when he was, about 5, he thought he was like really big. He thinks he's a German Shepherd and trying to fight a corgi, and that was something to watch. These little dogs, because corgis have like, their bodies are long and their legs, the two are kind of like far apart, so they kind of like, and that was an interesting spectacle. But in any case, one thing I wanted to suggest to you, if you like my videos, is and you want to go deeper in one particular topic, if you look up my last video on the jinn, there was somebody who commented, Janelle Longoria. She's a friend of mine, and she is very knowledgeable about Santa Muerte, and she can take you really deep into that. She has a lot of videos on it. She is a very knowledgeable, down-to-earth, sweet person. So I suggest that if you're interested in Santa Muerte is the folk saint, the spirit of death. And it comes, I believe, from kind of the Mexican tradition. And I did a video on her myself, just kind of giving a brief snapshot of her. She's also the saint that's often petitioned if you are a disenfranchised person, maybe somebody who is maybe socially kind of on the fringe. So she is used often for protection. She is used for love, reconciliation of love. Her theme, I guess, her archetypal thing is she is the one that can escort you upon death to the spirit world. So it's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. She is conceptualized as being kind of like a skeleton with a sickle, I believe. So check her out. All right. So do y'all have any questions? I know some of y'all have looked at a lot of my videos. Or if you have any questions about me, about anything. Sometimes people have asked on my Facebook page, how I actually do the videos. One of the things is that I go back and I sit in almost meditation. I go back to my memory banks and I try to recall what I know of a particular subject that I'm about to do. And I come up with it, and then what I'll do is I will go and research what I know to make sure that that is, if I'm remembering that right, if I'm being intellectually honest with that. And then I'll add to that by doing further research. I don't like just using very surface things like Wikipedia because sometimes that stuff can be wrong. So if I know somebody who knows something about it, who I consider to be well-versed or an expert, I'll do that. I have a very extensive library with thousands of books. So I have at my disposal, I have people who have devoted a lot of time, research, and effort in researching these things. So I kind of go through that, and I kind of come up with it and do a video. And I really enjoy doing the videos. When I grew up, I wish that I had YouTube to help share this information with me, because if you were kind of a little bit older, like somebody maybe in their 40s, 50s and older, you may remember that in order to research a subject and learn something, you had to put forth much more effort. You had to go to the library, you had to seek out what you want. If you couldn't find the book, you had to ask somebody, you had to go to card catalog. It was something, but we accepted it because we had a desire to go and do this research. It wasn't as easy as typing something in to Google and finding the information. Now, all of that is really cool that we can do that, and it saves time. But at the same time, we have so much information at our disposal that you almost have to use more critical thinking ability, because some of what is there could be deceptive. So I try to, when I'm going through my materials, to look at what are the commonalities that I'm seeing from these different sources. And of course, like I mentioned in the last live stream, is that my whole point of the videos is not to go in extremely depth of anything, but to get enough information in as quick of a time period as possible, because I know that I'm competing with people's attention, to give enough information so that if you wanted to go ahead and do your own research, you would have enough information to go ahead and strike forth. So that is my goal, and I think doing the videos is really fun. I think that there aren't enough people who actually publish books on Amazon that are doing videos. I think there need to be much more, and I'm kind of suspicious of why more people don't. Maybe they don't want to share the information for free, maybe. I don't know. That hasn't been a concern of mine. Yes, Gerald, 54, and there's so much more. Yeah. And Kaleido Jess. Yes, Kaleido Jess also has a YouTube channel that's worthy of going forth and looking at. She has a couple videos. I think I saw the one on sigil magic recently. I've tried to know more about Lilith. I've been so drawn to her and have learned about everything I can, I think. I'd like to know any experiences you may have had. Yeah. My experience with Lilith. Lilith is somebody that once you start reading about her, when I start reading about anything, I get a sense for vibrationally for what is this really about. I try to set aside any type of prejudices or biases I have and just tune in what this is about. And Lilith is one of those spirits where, at least for me, is that in the beginning I wanted to learn more about, but I wanted to step back a little bit because I could sense that she is worthy of deep respect and she had a tremendous amount of power. So that is the first thing when you're dealing with some of these spirits with Lilith. And she is part of the Qliphoth. So that's the first thing. But once that I did kind of my first ritual with Lilith, I could feel just an amazing kind of mix of power, energy, sexuality in my room. Like it was really strange, because let's say that you were with somebody, an attractive stranger, and you saw them, you might feel something, but you could see that, okay, so that is the person, that's somebody I'm seeing and they're attractive, so I might have some type of response on the inside. It's much different when you're in a room and you're doing a ritual with Lilith, and that feeling comes upon you, but there's no physical person to point at to say, okay, where is this? It's almost like it's in the air, and it was from her. It was very odd. It took a second for my brain to integrate that experience of what is happening. Although I know that, you know, I was trying to do something with Lilith, nonetheless, I've never felt something so powerful emotionally, such a powerful response in my aura and just around me. It was very interesting. So I would just say with a lot of spirits from the Qliphoth, a little bit ones that are on the darker end, to be very careful and be sure that this is something that you really want to do. And I would consider, you know, doing some banishings and things like that, so that nothing comes through some type of portal when they come. You know, they can follow another spirit through. Okay. Alrighty, folks. Gone about 26 minutes. I hope you all are relaxing, enjoying your Sunday. Hope you have your coffee, your tea, your wine, your beer. I have this, I'm trying this hard pineapple drink. I've never had it before. I'm not much of a soda drinker, like I was mentioning earlier, but this tastes okay. Got it at Rouse's. But I think my favorite, if any of you here like root beer, and I'm just a casual root beer drinker, so it isn't even my favorite drink. But there is one that Rouse's carry, what Rouse's carries called Not Your Father's Root Beer, and it is a an alcoholic root beer. It's about, I want to say 6% alcohol, but it's delicious, and you would have a hard time distinguishing it from actual alcohol because it doesn't have a really beer taste to it. But in fact, it is so popular that it's sometimes hard to find. But anyway, I am going to stop the recording, and I'm going to put that link that I mentioned in the beginning. I don't know if anybody was on when I talked about this. I mentioned the first minute or so that I do a lot of trying to see what's on Amazon as far as getting new knowledge and things like that. And there is a book that I somehow come across from, I think his name's Jeffrey Weiss, a doctor. I'm not even saying if I'm sure if I'm saying this, vulvomancy, which is a woman's using a woman's private parts for divination. I use tarot and runes and things like that, but I guess if you were somebody who was an OBGYN, you could actually, you know, perhaps add a little bit more to your session. But anyway, I'm going to provide a link if you check back in 15, 20 minutes in case you want to check that book out. I thought it was interesting. It was by, I think, the Lucky Mojo Company, and I have a couple of their books. So anyway, I'll throw that out there. Something interesting. Kaleido Jess, wait, I have a question. I also still want to get your book. Okay, what's your question? How did you first learn about the occult, and around what age did you become curious? You raised as an atheist or in a religious family? Okay. How did I first learn about the cult? From my mother. My mother was someone who raised me on horror movies. So I grew up being little watching the Amityville Horror and The Exorcist. and she introduced me to that. And she had books around of her own from like the 60s. So she had books like, and they were like, if you look at the old books from that time period, sometimes they were tainted, the not the spine, but the actual edges of the book were tainted a particular color. Sometimes they were yellow, sometimes they were pink. And I remember, you know, this one was yellow, but it was on psychic phenomena, how to develop your psychic abilities. She had one on out-of-body experiences. So those were my first look at, ooh, here's something here that is interesting and not normal, and something that isn't talked about as much in normal, polite conversation. So that's how I got started with that. Also, I found my mom's Ouija board in the closet, and my little sister, and I played with it. My mom didn't care, and so got started that way too. And over time, my little sister and I created. We thought we were parapsychologists, so we created those little Zener cards, you know, with the squiggly lines, was it like a square, and various other things to try to test your ESP. We used to occupy our time doing that. And things escalated from there, I guess. I think I didn't really get into studying, actually reading about things like witchcraft and that sort of thing until I was around 17 or 18. And from there, you know, I took courses. This was before online. There's correspondence courses through mail on various other things. So hope that answers your question. Cool. Well, Collider Jess, I put links to my book in my descriptions whenever you're ready to buy it. Cool. All right, guys and girls. I will see you all another time. And if you haven't, check out my video on the Jinn. Take care. See you later.